Hello everyone. I hope everyone's keeping safe and keeping boredom at bay with creative pursuits. Um, this is my contribution to keeping you busy and hopefully um, entertained. I'm going to introduce a series of worksheets that you can work along to develop your calligraphy skills. I'm going to start with the Copperplate and follow with the Gothic Batarde, as well as an Arabic worksheet to teach the Ruqa script. So this is the first in the series of Copperplate, and if you've taken a workshop with me, you know I like to teach in groups of letters, and this first worksheet is for the first group of letters and contains two letters, the letter I and U, and this is for the group I will link a video somewhere either on my profile or my Facebook page. It's on my YouTube channel under Toronto and Company. That explains how the group 1 letters are drawn. I'm going to do a short introduction of how to use this worksheet, how I have designed it. So what you will need is a PDF that I will link somewhere, which will give you this printout. This printout has an explanation of what we are looking for, a drawing of what we are looking for, an explanation of how to go about drawing the letter, and then a few lines of these practice letters. Now I've combined elements from different places to do this kind of an all-in-one. In the workbook that I'm designing, I will have kind of these sheets that you can place on the worksheet that you're working on. You will also need a holder with a flexible nib. You can use either a straight holder or an oblique holder. The only thing to keep in mind is that when you're writing, to keep your nib in line with these slant guides. So if you're using an oblique holder, you will hold it at an angle like this. If you're using if you notice the kind of angle of the pen relative to the slant. If you're using a straight holder, obviously this won't work, so we'll have to turn the paper a little bit and kind of write in an uphill direction, which is perfectly fine, nothing wrong with it. Whichever one you're more comfortable with, use that. I write Copperplate with an oblique holder, but to be honest, a straight holder is a much more versatile tool, especially when you get into flourishing later on. You will find it much more useful than an oblique holder. So you will also need some ink. I recommend walnut ink because it is really easy to clean off your nibs, fuss free, goes down well on a lot of different types of paper. You can use any other ink that you have. If you have fountain pen ink, generally Noodler's Black with a good amount, like almost 40 to 50% water added to it, works very well for me. It doesn't work so well for broad edge scripts, but for pointed pen, the Noodler's Black with water adds, it gives you very good results. Don't add water to your ink part. Just take a little bit in a dinky dip and add water there, so you have your ink still usable for other purposes. The paper I recommend you print this on is Rhodia. You can get them in pads that are blank, and you can print these guide sheets on them. When you're writing, generally place your inkwell on the side, if you're right-handed, put it on the right side, so your handedness kind of determines that. Basically minimizes the amount of travel if I don't go across pages. So the way to use these worksheets is very straightforward. You dip your pen in ink. You will notice that we have some letters that are grayed out. These grayed out letters are for you to trace. So you start with the entry hairline, halfway up the X height, start with the shaded stroke, stop at the baseline, like literally stop at the baseline, lift your pen, and then draw an exit hairline which is identical to the entry hairline. Once you have done this, it will give you an idea of the proportions, and you can do it on your own. Where there is a dash. Now make sure that you include the guidelines within your stroke. Don't turn don't start below it and don't turn before you reach it. So once you have had this practice, let's do it the second time around. And as you make these letters, you will kind of adjust to the rhythm of it. Now I'm purposely ignoring the dot at this point. It's simply drawn halfway up the first ascender space and matches the slant and the size of the shaded stroke. So you can, it's up to you to draw it or not. I would recommend practicing the eyes without. Once you go, as you go down the worksheet, you will notice that there are more eyes for you to draw and fewer grayed out ones. This is so you just get more and more comfortable with drawing it, and then hopefully doing a few lines of it will give you enough practice that you can do a couple of lines of eyes without any tracing. The U, the second letter on this worksheet, is simply two eyes drawn together. So we start with our first eye and get some ink in the pen. And then the exit stroke of the first eye becomes the entry hairline of the second, and then you just exit. And then you do it on your own. Now as you're drawing your the letter on your own, notice the differences between what you are shooting for and what you have achieved. For example, I missed the hairline touching the shaded stroke a little bit. That's actually okay, you don't really have to always touch it, or if you kind of go a little bit below the baseline or don't come close enough, which are both the issues that I face with this particular U, then I kind of try and fix that in the next shaded stroke that I'm tracing, and then continue that way. So this, you engage your kind of analytical side of your brain in this exercise. So it's not mindless just drawing U's and hoping that you will in a few pages learn it. The goal is really to just be able to do a decent I and U by the end of this worksheet. Feel free to print more if you want, but really you don't want to use this as a crutch. It's simply a tool for learning. Here is the explanation of what the different elements are, and the green text is what you should be looking for analyzing your stroke. So is the taper starting 2/3 of the way down? Is the baseline included in the strokes? Hairlines, the entry and exit, are they the same shape and angle? Is the exit hairline coming at least up to half X height, and at that point is it matching the slant guide? And you go back and square the top by drawing like a little 7 stroke at the top and coloring it in or filling it in, sorry. So this is just much more reliable than trying to square it in one go. If I'm doing kind of fine calligraphy, this is the way I prefer to go anyway. So hopefully this will be of use and give you something to do while you're waiting to wait out this isolation period. Please do leave me a comment. If you're doing it, I would love to see your uploaded work, and in the coming days I'll be uploading more of these. So hopefully you find these useful. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to doing many more of these with you. Bye bye.